Cyber attacks, they're everywhere these days. So I'll highlight a few of them that have been going on over the past couple of years that are more in the ag space or that have caused some severe disruption. But if you really want to get depressed, you can go out to cybernews.com and look at the latest cyber attacks that was just out there before this session, looking at what some examples are. And Lewis and Clark College in Oregon got hit here at the beginning of March and was down for several weeks and had all sorts of a mess to clean up as well too. So this is very much an ongoing thing. So one of the biggest ones that hit was about a year and a half ago, where a coastal pipeline, which supplies about 45% of the East Coast fuel, was hit and was down for several days. In the agriculture space, one of the largest meat processing companies called JBS Meats, I mean, they're so big, they actually have 850 folks in their IT organization, and they were still hit. So it doesn't necessarily matter the number of people that you have in IT. It matters what kind of protection you've put in place. One of the most popular targets is actually help desk software. So SolarWinds and Kaseya were both attacked as well, and because using those tools, then they can get in and attack more companies that way. So the SolarWinds affected over 18,000 companies and some government entities. And one of the funny stories about that is their password was SolarWinds123. So again, probably not the best thing to do if you want to try to avoid cyber attacks. And then there were a few in our neck of the woods up in the Minnesota area recently with a couple cooperatives, Crystal Valley and New Cooperative. And after that, I've heard of a lot of folks around here getting presentations about cybersecurity, and so we wanted to share what we know as well too. With Crystal Valley, I happen to know some of the folks there, and luckily they had just taken a backup. One of their developers had just taken a backup of their GP system right before they got hit to work on something. And if he hadn't done that, they would have been in much worse position than they ended up being. So it's really challenging. But there's a few different sites if you want to learn about what's going on in the world today. Like I mentioned, Cyber News, or there's a data breaches. It looks to me about 3 to 10 fairly high profile either data breaches or ransomware events happen every month. So you do not want your name on that list. The ransomware attacks have been increasing over the past few years as well too. So you want to make sure you're well protected, because the outages can be very painful, very expensive. The New Cooperative ransomware request was for $5.9 million, which they didn't end up paying, but that's the kind of magnitude of these requests that you could end up having to deal with, not to mention the outage to your business.